Welcome back, reality-based athletes and coaches. Thank you for joining me for another video today. I hope you have enjoyed the first 3 rules of reality-based athletics so far. I've had some great conversation around those competencies, and I've been talking to a lot of coaches and players who are following along, so that's been really good. Looking forward to getting into the 4th rule today, which I think you guys will really like. But before we do, I need to share with you some recent research I've uncovered. And that research said that a subscriber a day keeps the doctor away. And it also said that a share a day may just determine how many championships you get to play. So with that being said, follow the research. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so and get busy sharing. Get sharing it with your teammates and spreading the philosophy. Anyway, the topic today is super broad in general, but because it is such a broad topic and so frequent in sport and so constant in sport, it's very, very important. And that topic is around change, or what I call your readiness in sport. Your ability to respond to changes or adversity. Now, change is something that's always fascinated me in sport because you can see the effects of it on athletes just when you ask them to maybe change the way they're doing a skill, like changing someone's shot or change the way they swing or their footwork, because you can really see how much it's a struggle for athletes. And because of that, they seem to want to resist whenever they're asked to change something they're doing, because naturally it's tough and it's a struggle and you might get laughed at or it might not look great. Change also fascinates me from a team aspect, because some teams, when faced with the same change, can really capitalize and improve and jump right on it, and others that face maybe a change in momentum or a change in the way the refs are calling the game, or if the weather changes, really falter and fall apart. So it really does intrigue me how the same change can cause drastically different results for players and teams. Now, the amazing thing about changes is that the human condition, the natural response when asked to change something you're doing or your approach, is to resist it and be scared of it. Because what's actually happening is change is really tied to your comfort zone. So when you are asked to learn a new skill or try something that you've never done before or change your approach, it is getting you out of your comfort zone where you felt safe. And it is natural to try and resist that. And what we do often as athletes is, instead of trying to capitalize on that, figure out how we can definitely make it work for our game, we choose to step down and come up with a story why that change isn't going to work for us or why we can't do it. And that is where we really start adding a lot of mental and emotional waste. So with all that being said, let's get into the 4th rule of reality-based athletics, and that is say yes to what's next in your sport. Change is opportunity. The general idea is that the player that can take that energy that would normally be lost in resisting change, that mental and emotional energy, and capture it and put it towards capitalizing on the change or seeing the opportunity in the change, will be able to increase their impact to the team and therefore increase hopefully their playing time and their impact on the game or the sport or the season. In this video, again, I have a nice little diagram. I'm going to tell a story about where I definitely messed this up in my career, so you can use that story to figure out where in your game you can capitalize on the next change. But before we get into that, I just want to share with you a diagram to walk you through kind of that story and give you an illustration of the 3 different places that an athlete will fall into when experiencing a change, or when going through an issue in an event. And that diagram will be up above me right here. And the first area that an athlete can fall is into resistance. And when you're in resistance as an athlete to a change, you view that change as a threat. You're kind of stuck in your beliefs. You're very reactionary, so it's always very shocking that you need to work on something else. And you really think a lot about the past. I wish it was, back a few years ago when I was able to dominate and it wasn't so hard. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there are those athletes that are always in vision when there's a change. And they see every single, adjustment as an opportunity to step above their competition or to get better. They're very creative on how they can capitalize on that new opportunity. They're very resourceful and they seem very present, always, excited about the new thing to learn or jumping in. And the rest of the athletes are in what we call maintenance, which is where you're always playing it safe. You're kind of just going through the motions. You don't really care. You're not really about the past, but you're looking forward to the end of practice or the end of the workout. As athletes, you can go from any single spot on any given day, depending on kind of your mindset. But on most teams, about 20% are in resistance, another 20% of the team is in vision, and about 60% hang out in maintenance. Now with that diagram in mind, let's go through a few examples of changes. So you get a new coach. Well, I want to see if I can trust him and see if he knows what he's talking about. Then I'll buy in. Nice, this is an opportunity for a fresh start. Let me see how I can jump on board with his coaching philosophy. A new recruit comes in at your position. Oh my gosh, is coach trying to replace me at my position? He doesn't think I'm good enough? This is an opportunity to prove myself, and our team can get better if I teach this new recruit how we do things around here. You're asked to do a new role on the team. Like, why is that my role? Aren't I better to do this instead? Why? I mean, I think I'd be better doing this for the team. This is an opportunity to be the best I can in my new role, and I can develop in the things that I eventually want to be able to do out on the floor or the court. You're asked to try out a new skill. When will I ever use that skill, like in the game? I don't need that. This is an opportunity to add a skill to my skill set, and then I can use it against people that are defending me or my opponent. There's a change in officiating. They just want us to lose. These guys always call that stuff only against us. Wow, this is a big opportunity to get my opponent into foul trouble so then I can get guarded by a lesser defender. Now with that diagram in mind, I want to share with you a huge change I went through when I started playing professionally in England, and it had to do with the way the referees, I guess, officiated the game. And it was very, very different. We'll just leave it at that. And a teammate of mine over there noticed early on that I was very, very resistant and threatened by how they were calling the games. It was very physical, it was inconsistent, it wasn't what I was used to. These are all judgments, by the way, but that's what I had thought. So this change in officiating had me in resistance, and I wasn't looking at this change in officiating as an opportunity and what are ways that I can capitalize on it and still be an effective player. I saw everything as a threat, and I was very reactionary to it and all of that. And so one day I realized that the same officiating that was causing me so much frustration and pain was making my teammate smile and smirk, and he was able to score in it, and he was able to use people's off-balance weight to his advantage. So it was a big lesson for me that he was in vision. He had gotten over all the resistance to that change in officiating when he came back over to play in England, and he saw that all as opportunities. He was very creative on how he scored down in the post, and he didn't see it as a threat like I did. So we were on opposite sides of the spectrum there. And eventually I remember the breakthrough when I finally said, change is opportunity, and I said yes to what's next. We actually started working on different post moves and positioning to help me capitalize on the physical play, where I could spin off them, or I could work on my fadeaway, or I could do a bunch of different things, a bunch of different skills that helped their physicality be to my advantage. Now before, I was completely resistant of it. I kind of dreaded going down there. I almost stopped posting up. And because of this change in mindset, I was in vision to the change in officiating, and I started capitalizing on the different opportunities that were there. Now, a few key points about this spectrum that I've shown. Coaches know that there is only about a 3% chance of actually changing those players that are in a chronic state of resistance. They always hate all the coach's decisions. They're not on board with the team. So those athletes start to get labeled as uncoachable. That's where that term comes in, because you're always resisting any, changes that the coaches tell you to work on. And then on the other end, those in vision, when people say, the coach seems to play favorites, or he's always just playing his favorites out there. Well, yeah, he is. Coaches do have favorites, and it's usually those in vision with what he's trying to do, or what he's having them work on, or what he's trying to implement. So if you're out there wondering, where should I try and fall when it comes to changes and where should I fall with my mindset on this spectrum? I mean, you kind of figure it out. Are you going to be falling in resistance, always scared to leave your comfort zone and not believe in anything the coach says? Or are you going to be in vision and quickly capitalize on any changes, say yes to what's next that your coach throws out there? Up to you. And as some of you athletes are in maintenance and you're wondering, why am I not getting the playing time I want? Or why does coach not give me all the instruction that I think I need? Maybe look at ways that you can kind of lean more towards a visionary, and coaches definitely love to really coach their favorites, give them more opportunities, and get them more playing time. So maybe be thinking about that as well. Moving forward after this video, I really encourage you to look at any changes that you're asked to do. Maybe it's a change in your skill set, or changing your role, or each year as you're going through changes, really start to see all those as opportunities, and notice when you are feeling that they're threats, that's just your comfort zone talking, and that's your call to greatness talking. And I want you to notice that and answer it, and see where you can be more resourceful, more creative to attack those changes and capitalize on them more than your competition and more than your other teammates if you're fighting for playing time. Well, that's all for today's video, my reality-based athletes. Give this video a like if you liked it, if it got you thinking. Leave a comment if you want to discuss anything, maybe some changes you're struggling with and ways that you can capitalize on those. Leave a comment below. I'd love to answer those questions there. Definitely subscribe if you want to be the first one notified of the next video coming out. I'm gonna keep pounding away at the philosophy. We're gonna get into even more detail on ways that these different mental processes can help your game and help you, perform at your best and reach your dreams and your goals. We'll see you next time. Happy playing days. Let's keep ditching the drama.
So just because it's been said before doesn't mean that you don't need to hear it. And just because I'm not the first to follow doesn't mean that I can't feel it.